It's our nature to care for ourselves. Why care for the trees? Because we care for our lungs, which need fresh oxygen. Why care for the birds? Because we crave for bird songs to wake us up each morning. Why care about the rivers or the oceans? Because we need fresh water and food for generations to come. Why care about the snow-capped mountains? Because we love a break in the midst of nature. Why care for the environment? Because it's our nature. This Environment Day, let's protect our nature and build a greener tomorrow.
Finally. Camping just like the old days, huh?
सही है यार.
So, how's work? Building a new India, huh?
Yeah, a sustainable housing project in Alwar. आजकल ये ग्रीन लिविंग की काफी डिमांड बढ़ गई है. तू बता, हाउस लाइफ इन वॉल स्ट्रीट?
Bro, मेरे लिए तो ग्रीन सिर्फ डॉलर्स है.
सुनना, बहुत भूख लगी है. चल ना कुछ बनाते हैं.
हाँ चल बनाते कुछ. Oh, shikes. Didn't back the stove.
मजाक मत कर.
Now what यार? लगता है इस बार घास फूस से ही काम चलाना पड़ेगा.
एक आइडिया है.
क्या?
बारिश से बचने के लिए जो एक्स्ट्रा प्लास्टिक शीट लाया था, निकाल.
हाँ.
वो कंटेनर भी निकाल.
Okay. What? फिर से बिल्ड किया? हाँ?
अगर खाना है तो पास वाली स्ट्रीम से पानी लेके आ. जा.
Bro.
हाँ.
क्या?
ब्रो ये क्या है?
ये पानी एक लेंस है. सनलाइट यहाँ से पास करेगी और इधर फोकस होगी. एंड दिस हीट विल बॉईल द वाटर.
अरे वाह, क्लीन एनर्जी.
यस, बट कुकिंग रोज तू करेगा.
इंजीनियर बाबू, यू आर सेवियर.
हाँ, नेचर इज ऑलवेज अ सेवियर.
Good morning, Mr. Chakraborty. Just a minute, I'll give you the hosting rights. Just a minute, sir. Chakraborty, if you could just check if you can unmute yourself, sir.
Yeah, I can.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. We'll start in about another minute, sir. Just a minute.
Yeah, please.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Mr. Kapoor, GM Kapoor, sir, would you please unmute yourself once?
Yeah.
You're audible. You're visible. Thank you, sir. We'll start in a minute, sir. Just a minute. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. With the permission of Mr. Subir Chakraborty, Managing Director and CEO of the Exide Industries, and Mr. G.M. Kapoor, Executive Committee Member of Calcutta Management Association, we would like to start today's session. Is it okay to start, sir? For both of
Yeah,
you?
it's fine by me.
Absolutely. Please.
Okay. So before I start, I just want to put into perspective one small thing. Today, since it's I'm sorry, I cannot start my video. My camera is dysfunctioning today. It's showing some kind of a crap. So I'm very sorry, I cannot open it. Today, actually, we are celebrating the National Management Day. Usually on 21st of February every year, the All India Management Association celebrates this National Management Day as its foundation day also. But we, the LMAs, that is the local management bodies, we are asked or requested to celebrate this either 3 days prior to the 21st February or 3 days later. So thanks to Mrs. Chakraborty that he could give us time on 22nd, just the day after the 21st February, which is very relevant for us. Thanks a lot, sir. Thanks a lot for giving time. In fact, since today we are having this National Management Day, there are many people, many students in fact, we have been associated with many institutes like NSHM, Future, who are showing this live on their classrooms. So there are many students and faculty who are sitting in the classrooms and seeing this conversation. And something different that would happen today for all the participants who are attending is that after Mr. Chakraborty speaks for about 30 minutes, 35 minutes, we will open the floor for everyone to ask questions. I would request you can raise your hands on the chat box so that we can see and unmute you one by one and ask questions. We'll take not more than 5 to 7 questions given the time. So before we start, may I request Mr. G.M. Kapoor, the Executive Committee Member of Calcutta Management Association, to kindly introduce the speaker and start the proceedings. Mr. Kapoor, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Anirban. We welcome Mr. Subir Chakraborty on this occasion of the National Management Day celebrations. And we are indeed grateful to him for having spared his time to speak to all of us. Mr. Chakraborty is the MD and CEO of Exide Industries Limited. He has a background from IIT Madras and IIM Calcutta, and he has had a long innings with Exide Industries Limited, which, as you all know, is the leader in the area of energy storage and sustainable mobility, which are totally sunrise sectors as on date. He's also the chairman of the Bengal Chamber of Commerce and Industry. He has represented the chamber in the COP26 last year, and he made quite an impact. Today, he is going to speak, as you all know, on gender equality and sustainability. We are waiting to hear from him, so I'll hand over the proceedings now to Mr. Subir Chakraborty. Over to you.
So before we ask Mr. Chakraborty to speak, Mr. Vibod Tandon, who is the Joint Treasurer of CMA, may I request him to kindly switch on his camera and he will just welcome the gathering. Mr. Tandon?
Yeah, it's a matter of great pride for us to have Subir sir with us. And you know, the same message which comes from an ordinary person, the same message coming in from a legend has a different meaning and might be life-changing for everybody who's listening to this. So I really am honored to welcome Subir sir to this small session. We look forward to an enlightening session. I'm also looking forward to a great interactive session with all the participants. So I welcome all of you. A very warm welcome to all the participants from the institutes, from the management committee, from the executive committee, Subir sir, and everybody else who is attending. So I consider myself lucky to be part of the session. Thank you so much, sir. And if gender equality, as he's rightly selected the subject, was not really given due importance, we would not have people at the helm of affairs, women who at the helm of affairs, such as Arundhati Bhattacharya of SBI, such as the Biocon MD, Kiran Majumdar-Shaw, or for that matter, even Indra Nooyi. So I believe that it is a very relevant subject, very important for all of us. So thank you so much for joining us, Subir sir, and it is over to you. Thank you, sir.
So thank
Thank you,
you.
sir.
Thank you, GM. Thank you, Mr. Tandon, for all those, that flattering introduction. I prefer to call myself just a management practitioner. And let's get straight to the topic because I have a hard stop at 11:30. Topic for today is gender equality today for a sustainable tomorrow. Now, how is gender equality and sustainability? How are they connected? So these are two independent topics worthy of a lengthy discussion. So let's first try to understand sustainability. Now, how does one define sustainability? You will find many definitions of sustainability, but the one I like was narrated by the former PM of Norway, Gro Harlem Brundtland. He said it very simply, and I like simplistic narratives. He said, sustainability is nothing but meeting our own needs without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. So it's a very simple definition. We live a certain kind of life so that future generations can also live theirs. Just a disclaimer before I get further into the topic. All the views which I enunciate in this particular seminar are entirely my own. Of course, I have borrowed from quotes and so on, but the viewpoints are entirely my own. So please feel free to differ or to disagree as you deem fit. I'm always willing to learn. Now, why is gender equality important for sustainability? I think we should understand this next. See, gender inequality creates barriers to effective sustainable development and livelihoods by limiting or restricting women's access to resources and decision-making opportunities. So that's how these two are connected, because if half the population is kind of left out or marginally included, then you cannot have sustainable development. So, and that is why gender equality is the fifth SDG. SDG stands for Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations. So gender equality is the fifth SDG out of the 17 identified by the General Assembly of the UN. So that's why this is so important. Now, having gone through the broad definitions, where does India stand? Where do we stand, and how do we compare with others? So this is one area where we are not doing that great. We are 112th out of 153 countries in gender inequality index in 2020. And we slid 28 places to 140th rank out of 156 countries, as stated by the Global Gender Gap Report 2021 of the World Economic Forum. So not only are we, quite low down, we have slid, 28 places. So that's nothing to be very proud of, and something which I think we need to tackle jointly. Now, if you look at the United Nations Development Program, or UNDP, some very harsh kind of statistics, or at a global level, of course. Women earn only 77% or 77 cents as against $1 earned by men for the same work. So you have gender disparity. 35% women have experienced physical or sexual violence. Women represent just 13% of landholders. About 750 million women were married before their 18th birthday. only 2/3 of developing countries have achieved gender parity in primary education. So these are global statistics. And so one thing which is very clear is that we need to do something quite urgently. Now, one part of it is the ethical part, the moral part, that both the genders should progress equally. But does it make economic sense? Because, business people and others, they always want to know whether it makes economic sense for me to have gender parity. So I quote from Robert Zillig, who was the 11th president of the World Bank. He has said, equality is not just the right thing to do. It's smart economics. How can an economy achieve full potential if it ignores sidelines or fails to invest in half of its population? What we have seen from research and statistics is that companies with a minimum 30% female participation in management can increase profitability by up to 15% as per a survey of 22,000 companies across 91 countries. So does it make economic sense? Yes, it does. So that's why we should embrace gender parity in all our corporates and other organizations, because obviously it increases profitability. And that's why businessmen do business, to earn profits. Now, gender equality, is it really only a women's issue? A world full of empowered men isn't necessarily one where men are marginalized. It's a world based on meritocracy where everyone is likely to thrive commensurate with his or her skills and talents. So, one is talking about meritocracy here. How is that different? One is not saying that, okay, you favor one gender over the other. You give equal opportunity to both the genders and then you pick the best. And automatically one will see that you will have a high percentage of women in that merit list. That's what one is talking about. One is not saying that you pick or you select candidates who are inefficient just because you want to favor one gender over the other. But once having offered equal access or equal opportunities to education, to other things in life, you just pick the best and automatically men and women both come through. So now, women are also important from another point of view. See, women play a major role today across nations in boosting environmental development through conservation. So as per US polls, more than 60% women consumers have clean energy, green products, and recycling as an important consideration in their purchasing decisions. So we are talking about a green world, we are talking about a safe world, we are talking about a world which can not self-destroy itself. Then we have women playing a major role because they are the ones who are taking the right steps in purchasing products which have the green stamp on them, which means they are leading, they are the leaders in this change. Several global campaigns on environment conservation spearheaded by women, like the Clear Cut campaign in US to stop cutting down trees to make tissue paper, or the Chipko Andolan to protect forest areas in hilly regions of North India. Greta Thunberg, a young Swedish activist, has made significant strides in raising awareness on issues surrounding climate change and inspiring the global movement Fridays for Future. As a result of proactive role played by women in environment conservation, several companies are introducing eco-efficiency and eco-innovation into their manufacturing and their product lines to make their production processes more environmentally friendly. So it's the women who actually are, who do most of the shopping for household goods. And if they are showing a clear preference, obviously companies are taking notice. So now I come to the crux of the question. So what is really getting in the way? It makes ethical sense, it makes moral sense, it makes economic sense. So why people are not adopting it at a faster pace? What are the bottlenecks? You see, if people, I am 65, so people of my age group, I don't know about the people much younger than me, but who have grown up, most of us have grown up in households where role definitions have followed the traditional model, which is the patriarch model, which is the father earns the money, the mother takes care of the house, and the children grow up in that milieu, seeing certain role models in their own house. So our problem, if you want to change anything, you need to change right at the grassroots. Otherwise, the change will not happen. In management, we talk about reskilling and relearning certain things. This is something where we need to reskill ourselves. We need to relearn. Certainly people of my generation, we need to relearn because we have grown up in a different world and we are talking about another world altogether. So there is also the issue of competence on a lighter note. I may dare to add, here when I'm talking about competence, immediately people are perhaps in the audience, they're thinking about female competence. I'm not talking about female competence here. I'm talking about male incompetence. It was once estimated that in UK, women on an average spend 3 hours every week just redoing tasks that they think men did not do well enough. So what I'm trying to say is that, it's the competence or incompetence is there on both the sides. And so where do we start? I say we start with the family as a unit. Unless we change the mindsets within the family, we cannot change the outer world. First, we have to change ourselves. Number one, start with the boys. Train them for household tasks along with other skills. How many mothers, the problem of gender, problem of women starts with women. How many mothers actually train their sons to cook? How many mothers train their sons to do sewing? How many mothers train their sons to do washing? They don't. They will always train their daughters, but never their sons. Now, that has to start right at the grassroots level. If it doesn't happen, you cannot expect that boy to grow up and suddenly develop a very, very liberalized mindset. It's not possible. So women have to lead the change. Start with the girls as well. Expose them to sports, outside activities, career options. So the daughter in the family doesn't only get exposed to cooking and other home skills. She also, gets exposed to mountaineering, gets exposed to what it would be like to join the defense forces. And we know there are many women today who are in the Indian Air Force, in the Indian Army, in the Indian Navy. Expose them to that. Expose them to all kinds of career options. So this has to start right at the unit level. Number 3, come across respectfully to all women folk in the family. This is very important because in my experience, I've seen that usually the man in the house, he takes an upper hand, and, women always takes a subordinate position. He's the one who takes all the decisions. This has to change. We have all suffered COVID, but one good thing about the COVID, there's always something good which happens even in the worst of situations. One good thing about the COVID is that many men, and this I know from people who have, shared their experiences, many men have understood during the COVID phase what it means actually to do household work. What is the extent of toil, labor, thinking that has to go into just doing household work? And this appreciation has come because they have been forced to do it. So I say that why depend on another COVID to strike us? Why not start right from early days, right from our childhood? Number 4, leave the issue of marriage to individuals. Girls getting married before they're 18, after 18. 18, to my mind, is a very, very, very young age to really get married. But marriage is a huge issue, particularly in Indian households. Parents get anxious, girl has to get married, boy also needs to get married. I think getting settled somewhere, to talk about a person getting settled means that person has to be married. So when elders will ask a young boy or a girl, when are you getting settled? What he means is that when are you going to get married? Now, what is this equation of settlement with marriage? It's something that we need to ask. Is it really important? You get married when you want to get married. There should not be any force from within the family that, somebody doesn't want to get married, doesn't get married. So unless we have a liberal mindset, unless we think differently at the grassroots level, this will not change. Now, you may say that you are talking very big out here. So what have you done? What have you done in Exide? Well, for corporates, the issue of maternity becomes a very, very significant, I will not say problem, but significant matter which needs to be addressed. Because it's a fact that women, they will go through childbirth and they will require that period of leave. So how do corporates tackle that or should tackle that? I'm not saying that we are ideally placed, but I can tell you what I have done is that, of course, we have a 6-month maternity leave, but that is not enough because, the young child requires taking care. So even after completion of maternity leave, a female employee is entitled to work 50% work from home every month. That means, 30 days in a month, 15 days she can work from home until the child attains 1 year of age. And after that, till the child attains 5 years of age, she is entitled to 7 days of work from home. But my experience, in this matter is that women actually tend to join work before these periods are over because they are career conscious, they want to go forward, they don't want to lose out. So many of them actually do not avail of these facilities, but the provision is there and is hugely welcomed by the lady, employees of our company. I'm sure other companies must be thinking along the same lines because this needs to be addressed. This is not something that you can turn a blind eye to. At the government level, what can be done? At the government level, some bit of affirmative action is desirable, at least for some time. I am against affirmative action to last perpetually because that then becomes a vested interest in course of time. But I think affirmative action at the in the initial stages, where you actually say that, so many positions should be reserved for women and so on. So that, I think, helps certainly to bridge the gap quickly. So ultimately, we all need to do our bit. And at this juncture, I would also hasten to add that nobody needs to be really blamed for the problem. But each one of us can be responsible for the solution. So thank you. I think I've finished a little ahead of time. So if you have any questions.
Thank you, sir. Yes, there are a few questions. I would like to ask people to raise their hands. Already we have Pragya ma'am who has raised her hand, and I will ask her, give her the right to unmute herself. Ma'am, you can unmute yourself, please.
Good morning, everyone. And I feel honored to be present in such an august gathering. And sir, before asking the question, I will just introduce myself in 30 seconds so that you can understand from where my question is coming. I'm a qualified CS, had contested the elections this time for the Eastern Region Council. So it was a leadership battle. And I am the Women Empowerment Head for one of the largest organizations of Marwari Mahila Samiti called All India Marwari Mahila Sammelan. So whatever you have said, I'm really surprised that you have put everything in such a nutshell. So basically you finished early, but you have covered all the points. And whatever you have said, what I gathered is you have spoken with a relation.
Sorry, your voice is.
Spoken in relation to the urban population. So I will keep my question to that area only, to that part of the women crowd. So what I have felt that what you said about the government policies implementation, the companies, they are already doing a lot on maternity, and what the government has, the affirmative actions. Do you also feel that there is a need to change in the connotation of words? Like when we speak about women developing their kids, women taking care of their household, we just call them housewives. So I have been interacting with so many thousands of women. When they say, I'm just a housewife, immediately somewhere their self-esteem is going down. If we go through our ancient books like Arthashastra, can we also not call them wealth managers of family? Can we not change that connotation from housewife to say Griha Sastri? Can we really work on, because when you be cause of the root cause analysis, is this the population? So I have a question this week.
Yeah, so do I answer this or?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And how do we begin? Can we begin with this?
Yeah, so I do agree with you that we require some of the cultural connotations need to change. In British law, there is a term called man embraces woman. It essentially means that wherever there is a he in the law, it also includes a she. So we need to change some of these connotations. Now, if you go through some of the American journals like Harvard Business Review and all that, whenever they are giving an example, it is always in the feminine gender. It's almost like I've not seen an article where they take examples. Whenever you talk about a third person, a particular case or something like that, it always is a she. So that is something which they would have done consciously. But I do agree that housewife, nowadays during interviews, many people say my wife is a homemaker. So perhaps we should have better names for it, I'm sure. And I do agree that some of these cultural connotations need to change. Now, if I may again step into controversial territory, you know, it's just a thought that culturally, you know, mythologically, in every possible way, because we have always been part of a patriarchal society, that it was necessary for women to display some symbols of marriage, right? And whether, you know, in different kind of communities, you have different symbols, whereas men do not have equivalent symbols. Sometimes, of course, they wear a ring and all that. So my question is that some of these cultural connotations also need to be questioned. Just because somebody is a woman, why that person needs to display, whether that person is married or unmarried, and you know, how is it important, and why should it be displayed? But I'm saying controversial because I know many women, you know, hold this very dear to their heart and so on and so forth. All our religious festivals also, if you look at it from a third angle or with an unbiased view, you will feel or you will see that they are very heavily, you know, loaded against women, if I may use that word. I know we all enjoy our religious festivals, we enjoy our role definitions in society, in the family, and so on. But if you were to redesign it from scratch today, you would perhaps not include many of those items on the list. So I don't want to step further into it because I know it will create a controversy and people may feel
No,
that.
sir, I think you have answered the question really well, because sometimes this brainstorming and discussion also helps us. So it was an open discussion, and which also, because I have been trying to put this in the minds of all my women that you are already empowered. Now you need to empower others. Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank
Pradhan.
you.
I would take the next person who is asking a question. There is Mr. Nawaz. Could you please ask the question? Mohammed Nawaz. Yeah.
हेलो
Yeah.
सर
Yeah, you're audible. Please ask the question.
हेलो सर आपने सर बोला था कि जैसे मॉम्स रेज देयर बॉयज नॉट गर्ल्स बिकॉज वो आपने बोला कि गर्ल्स को अब मॉम सबको सिखाती हैं बॉयज को क्यों नहीं सिखाती बट सर यहाँ पे कुछ कुछ बॉयज है बट जो सीख के सर करते हैं
Pardon, आपकी आवाज ठीक से नहीं आ रही है.
हेलो अब आ रही है सर
Can somebody?
हाँ, अभी ठीक है. आप फिर से बोलिए, थोड़ा जोर से बोलिए.
सर आपने बोला ना सर कि मॉम्स बॉयज को क्यों नहीं हर चीज सिखाती हैं गर्ल्स को ही क्यों सिखाती हैं बट
हर चीज नहीं, होमली ड्यूटीज.
होमली ड्यूटीज भी करते हैं सर बॉयज
नहीं करते तो हैं डेफिनेटली, बट आई ऑल्सो सेड दैट आई टुक द रेफरेंस ऑफ व्हेन आई वाज ग्रोइंग अप. मैं जब छोटा था उस जमाने में 1960s 1950s में, तब दुनिया थोड़ा सा अलग था, एंड सो आई टुक दैट रेफरेंस एंड आई ऑल्सो सेड दैट आई डू नॉट नो इफ दिस हैज चेंज्ड. अगर चेंज हुआ है तो अच्छी बात है, मैं उसका स्वागत करता हूँ.
Thank you, sir. The next is from Professor Devaprasad Chakraborty. DPC, sir. Yes, sir. Can you unmute yourself, please? From Jobson Business School.
Good morning, sir. It was great listening to you. In all admiration, apart from CMA, whenever I listen to you in CII or BCCI, it's all in reverence. Sir, my question, which I had put in the chat box, is that would you buy in the fact that gender inequality is one of the prime reasons for glass ceiling effect in women? And I have an appendix question also, sir. On a parallel note, would you subscribe to the fact that in standing orders under HR and IR, just like maternity leave, paternity leave also should be mandated in corporates? So these are my two humble queries, sir.
Okay, I'll take your second question first. Paternity leave, certainly these demand has not yet emanated from the male employees as yet. So obviously, neither at least in our context, I can say both the ladies as well as the gents, none of them have really talked about it. But I'm sure that in course of time, this will also emerge, particularly with rise in growth in unit families, where you have only the husband, wife, and the child or the children. This need will arise. I'm sure of it in course of time. But so far, this need has not been verbalized as yet in our context, that I can tell you. But I know some companies abroad and have a system of paternity leave. Now, this glass ceiling, what exactly did you mean by glass ceiling effect? If you can just clarify a bit. Sorry, you are on mute. You're on mute, sir.
Yes. Sir, what I mean is that from the literature point of view, when it comes to promotion, when it comes to career advancement, the men folk, they always get preference, and women folk, they are debarred. So glass ceiling effect, they tend to be put in glass ceilings, whereby they cannot compete with their male counterparts. So would gender...
No, I have understood. I have understood. So let me put it this way. There are certain functions where women certainly are doing very well. If you take HR, if you take secretarial function, secretarial, I don't mean personal secretary, but the company secretarial function. Certainly they are doing very well. Now, where they fight shy of competing, even in an open environment, is the field level jobs or the factory level jobs. There I find not two women are interested, because it involves maybe more arduous hours of work, or the location may not be convenient for them. So far, what I have seen in my experience is that these functions, at the accountancy function, for example, that is also another function where a lot of women have come in. So in India, women prefer, so far in my experience, they prefer to work in locations which are stable, in the sense that where frequent transfers may not be there, so that they can also, they have other priorities in life. And this factory shop floor and the field sales, these are two areas. There are exceptions, of course. Even in Exide, there are exceptions, but not too many are interested right now. But, I would love to have many more people in these two functions as well. So that's the way it is. But
thank you so much.
In those functions where they are already predominant in most companies, I find, I do not see there is any bar, because they are the ones who are taking the decisions in many cases. So I do not see any bar in that.
Thank you, sir. Next question, may I request Avinash Gond, please unmute yourself. Yeah, go ahead. So Gond, you are already unmuted. Would you like to ask the question? Let's go to the next one, because it seems we have some problem with the audio system. Pradipto Haldar, would you like to ask the question? You are unmuted at the moment. Mr. Pradipto Haldar.
Yes, sir. Am I audible?
You are audible.
Yes, sir. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. I have two questions. That as far as I understand about gender equality, it's about choice. A girl can make a choice to make it her career, and as well as the boy. So my question is, as you said, sir, in the patriarchal society, girls are thought to be a homemaker. If there will be gender equality, if a boy want to be a homemaker, will he be accepted by the society as a homemaker?
Is that your question?
Yes, sir. It's my first
Okay.
question.
There was a Hindi film on this. I do not know whether you've seen it. I forget the name. Where the boy wants to be a homemaker and cook and all that. So my question is that if somebody is interested to be if a boy wants to be a homemaker and he thinks that if that is acceptable to his partner, I do not see why there should be societal acceptance is something that we have long left behind. Gone are the days when people in the village would not talk to you and so on and so forth. If you are talking about urban society, you don't even know who's living in the next door in most mega cities. So therefore, whether society accepts it or not is hardly of importance today in any of our urban areas. But if you talk about village, yes, village, there are problems. They're out there, there are issues, but there the change will happen much later. We cannot expect that, there'll be a 180-degree change in our village setting. Villages have long way to go because we still hear of honor killing and all kinds of things which we read in the papers. So there is a long way to go for our villages. But in the urban setting, so the way I look at it is, first, we all live in urban areas. That's why we are, in this conference. Let's first change our own milieu. And I'm sure it will filter down. It will trickle down to the villages and to other areas as well. Yeah.
Sir, I have another question. So can I say?
Put it short, Shalda, short and crisp. Yeah, go ahead.
Sir, you said that from ancient time we are living in a patriarchal society. Sir, my question is, why patriarchal society every time build around the world? Why it's not maternal society? I have heard like one or two maternal society in ancient times had built also. Like once their Cleopatra have been thrown in the Roman Empire. So why not maternal society naturally built?
You don't have to go to Cleopatra. We have matriarchal societies in Kerala. In Kerala, the matriarchal society is very much prevalent within certain castes. So you don't have to go to as far back as Cleopatra. So basically, it had to do with economic, in a situation where men used to go far out, it was the mother who used to manage. So obviously, the mother became very predominant in certain societies. It also has to do with economic well-being. It is very important when you talk of gender parity, that gender parity actually will come from economic parity, because once the ladies, they have the same amount of economic power, they obviously will have same amount of say in everything within the family and even outside. So economic parity is important. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The next question is from Mahul Moitro. Please unmute yourself. Please ask short questions because we are already, we'll take another 2 to 3 questions and then wrap up. Mr. Moitro? Doesn't seem he is in the audio. So Devanjan Sharkar. Oh, Mr. Moitro, yeah. Speaker.
Good afternoon. Good morning, sir, to all the respected faculties. Sir, I have a question that how does gender inequality affect the goodwill of an organization?
See, I personally believe that, when you have an organization which is very much by design, very much gender biased, you are not really picking the right people for the job. You're not basically depending on meritocracy. If you're not doing that, obviously you have less than par people in your organization. And in that case, what happens is that it has long-term effects on how the organization fares, how it comes across to the outside world, and so on and so forth. everyone would like to have the best people in their own organizations. And when you talk about best people, you cannot have gender biases. It doesn't make any sense, number one. Number two, a mixed population in any organization is always a much more vibrant community in terms of generation of ideas and in terms of making it a better place of work. So I think you actually lose out if you have a biased view towards organization building.
Thank you, sir. Next question, we'll take two more questions. Devanjan Sharkar.
Thank you. Is my voice audible?
Yeah,
Yes,
you're
yes.
audible.
Thank you, sir. Sir, I have a small observation and I would like to take your view on that. So, with this, whatever empowerment has happened and is happening, I observe that many of the male counterparts are not able to handle a empowered woman in the family setup, as well as there is an ego clash in the organization to an extent I have observed. So do you think that a small sensitization effort also needs to happen on the male counterpart, because traditionally we are grown in a very biased ecosystem towards men? So that is my question and your take in family as well as corporate setup.
So
How to handle?
certainly,
Yeah.
certainly it helps, because as I've told you, I've talked about my childhood. And I was hoping that, people who have been born later, they would have experienced something slightly different, but maybe not so different actually. So now sensitization certainly helps, because men need to be comfortable with women and vice versa in their work sphere, where only work should matter. Okay. So this is the most important thing, that when you are sitting and discussing across the table, you don't think about other things. You only discuss work, and it should be work focused. And in that respect, also the women who are working, they should not look for any extra favors or any leniency because they are women. That also is not done. Because once you are coming to an organization on equal footing, the word equal should have meaning. Of course, that does not mean that, if there are programs or something late in the night, the organization doesn't take care to see that the ladies are escorted home safely. That is another matter. That's a law and order situation. But as far as the work is concerned within the organization, it has to be on equal footing, which means no favoritism to either gender. It's all based on merit. And men need to recognize that women can also compete with them and can also become their bosses. So this is something that they have to live with. If they don't like it, then they are not fit to be in the organization. So I'm very clear about it. But your suggestion that sensitization, yes, that certainly helps, and will go a long way in bridging some of these issues. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The last question we'll take is from Lady Priyanka Chaudhary. Priyanka, could you unmute yourself, please? Priyanka, seems again the audio is not connected. Kaushik Mukherjee.
Very good morning. And am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I have a very small question, but our answer might not be possible or may not be possible to be in a short time. But what you already touched is that in the manufacturing industry, hardcore manufacturing industry, diversity is a challenge which we are facing. And also someone raised a question, what about the relevance of diversity culture? I think that today ESG is a big factor for any organization, and any investor looks into the lens of ESG, and there the social factor largely depends on one factor, which is diversity. Now, for a manufacturing industry, facing these challenges becoming difficult, and you also touched the point about people not taking up challenges in the remote areas. And for a chemical company or any company which is having some kind of emission, he will definitely not have his factory located near a neighborhood or or somewhere where the residence is. It will have to be necessarily in a remote place. How to address this? We have tried several means, ways of making it comfortable. Least to say about the to and fro, about staying to the maximum possible extent indoors and not taking the heat of the factory floor. But invariably, the best of GTs after a few years. So for this simple reason, they tend to leave. And this is an issue which I think all manufacturing industries. Is there any thing which perhaps can be done from your rich experience, which you can throw some lights up? And the other point is a small one, which is regarding the women directors in boards. It has been mandated to make it ensure diversity. But from your experience, we'd like to know that how have you felt the inclusion, how it has helped in the decision-making process of the board? Of course, not divulging what decision-making, but from a holistical point of view.
See,
Sir, you are muted somehow, sir.
yeah, having women directors on the board on the board is certainly a very, very welcome step, because any diversity adds to the richness of conversations. What are you doing at the board level? You are just basically having conversations regarding the company. So certainly a more diverse mix in the boardroom helps. And as far as factories are concerned, yes, that is a challenge in the Indian context, because women are still fighting shy of actually taking up shop floor jobs. But what I'm hopeful about is that with the some of these ideas filtering down to the grassroots level and so on and so forth, because factories are normally located in the hinterland. They're usually not in major cities. I'm confident that in course of time, as it has happened in Western nations, the women in the locality, for example, let me give you an example, like we have a factory in Haldia. Now, women in and around Haldia who actually stay or who have grown up there, they will be motivated to take up employment in the factories in course of time. So, but for that to happen, I think some more changes are required, some more acceptability and all those things are required. For one thing which managements can do is to provide good washrooms, because what ladies really want in the shop floor or in offices is that they should have a clean washroom and adequate provisions, the number of washrooms, so on and so forth. That should be more than adequate. I think this is something which is very much required. And women always, that's the first thing they check, that whether they will have that sense of privacy and so on. So this is important. I think management on their part can start off with doing this, having those facilities inside the shop floor. And then in course of time, with this emancipation happening and these ideas filtering in and so on and so forth, I'm sure there will be many women who will be motivated. Now, this view that women like soft jobs and they don't want to take up hard jobs, and men like to do the rough and tough part of any kind of they look forward to that. This is all a myth. There are equal number of men and women who have got predisposition for certain types of occupations, vocations, whatever. If there are men mountaineers, there are women mountaineers. If there are men deep sea divers, there are women deep sea divers also. If there are men Air Force pilots, there are women Air Force pilots also. But opportunity, now, if a lady who is predisposed towards becoming, let's say, something like a fighter pilot, if you cage that person inside the house and force that person to do only cooking and cleaning, obviously that person cannot become a fighter pilot. But if the environment is open, I'm sure that person will drift towards her career of choice. So equal number of women will be good in the shop floor. I'm quite confident of that if given equal opportunity. But The environment has to support this, and I'm sure it will happen. I'm very hopeful. I'm an optimistic person by nature. I'm sure things will move in the right direction.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. May I request Mr. Indranil Banerjee, who is the Joint Treasurer of CMA. Sir, could you please, say a few words?
Thank you very much, sir. It's proud pleasure to have you in the early hours of the day. So far, our is concerned, we have started just one adjoined to your words. In our organization, we have started paternity leave. We give it 15 days time twice to male persons up to the child attains age of 18. So that is just one rejoinder to you, your valuable points so much covered. And on behalf of CMA, I thank you a big degree and all the audience, so that we have almost 130 people joined with us in the so early hours of the day. We look forward to see you in some time again, maybe in physical format program. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for having me with you. It was a pleasure and honor to address such a large